Gucci is synonymous with style, luxury, and extravagance. But the bold colors of this brand don't show this family's true colors. The house of Gucci was built with hard work, ambition, and passion. The family business, though, was destroyed by jealousy and greed. I'm Estela Mendes. Welcome to Fashion History Sessions on the House of Gucci. The creation of this iconic brand was in the hands of Guccio Gucci. He was born in Florence in 1881, the son of a couple who owned a straw hat company. In 1897, the family business is almost bankrupt, and Guccio goes to London, where he works at the Savoy Hotel. Guccio carries the luggage of the Belle Epoque rich. By this time, people would not travel just for a weekend, but for long periods of time. Guccio was intrigued by the size and quality of this luggage, and this would be of great use for him in the future. In 1902, Guccio returns to Florence, where he starts working in a company named Franzi, specialized in leather goods. In 1921, Guccio opens his first store in Florence. At first, Guccio buys well-made leather bags from Tuscany, England, and Germany. The idea was to sell to tourists visiting Florence. When he could not find what he wanted, he would commission special pieces often designed by him. Guccio had a small workshop at the back of the store where he made bags and repairs. Soon the repair business became very profitable. Gucci becomes a family business when Aldo, Guccio's older son, starts working in the Florence store at the age of 20 in 1925. Soon, his personality and good looks start to attract young customers. The business progresses, but from 1936 to 1937, there was an embargo on Italian products by the League of Nations. Guccio had to find alternatives to imported leather and find other materials. This is when M canvas with the diamond pattern is created, being introduced in handbags and luggage. In 1938, Gucci opens a store in Rome. After the war, there was again scarcity of materials, and in 1948, Gucci starts working with pigskin leather, becoming one of the signature materials of this brand. It's around this time that the bamboo handle bag is designed, becoming one of the most iconic Gucci bags. Aldo Gucci brings the equestrian style into the brand. The horse-feet buckle becomes one of the greatest symbols of Gucci. Guccio's three sons continue to work with him. Aldo, opening new businesses and participating in designs. Vasco, working in the factory in Florence, and Rodolfo, opening a Gucci store in Milan in 1951, leaving behind his days as an actor. In 1953, Aldo opens a Gucci store in New York, and a new branch of the business, Gucci America. His father would die 15 days after the opening of the store. A new Gucci era will begin. In the same year, the Gucci loafer is launched. This shoe will eventually be made for women as well. By the 1980s, it was a great symbol of achievement. The company was divided between his three sons, Aldo, Vasco, and Rodolfo. Guccio's daughter will inherit money and properties despite working all her life for the family business. Gucci determined in his will that no woman should ever be shareholder of the business. With Aldo at the helm of the company, Gucci sees a period of great business expansion in the 1960s and 70s. With a new Gucci store on Fifth Avenue in 1960, in Paris at Rue Saint-Honoré in 1963, and Rodeo Drive in 1968. In 1972, Aldo expands the business and creates Gucci Perfumes International. But only him and his sons are shareholders of this company, which later will bring discontentment for his brother Rodolfo. In 1974, Vasco dies and his shares are acquired by Aldo and Rodolfo. Now each one has 50% of the company. But not for too long, as Aldo decides to give 10% of his shares to his three sons, Giorgio, Paolo, and Roberto. In the 1960s, Gucci becomes the hit brand. It was famous for its handbags and loafers, and by 1969, Gucci presents its fashion show at Alta Moda Roma. It is in this period that celebrities popularized some of the most famous creations of Gucci, like Jackie Kennedy, that was often seen wearing a hobo handbag that later would be also known as Jackie 1961. The story of the Flora scarf is related to Grace Kelly. In 1966, she visited the store and Rodolfo showed her around. At the end of the visit, he wanted to give her a present, but she was too shy to choose. At her suggestion, she asked for a scarf. Rodolfo said that was Gucci's last creation that was still in the making, but she would be the first one to receive it. That was not true, but would be. As soon as she leaves the store, Rodolfo calls a friend who was an illustrator and comes up with the Flora scarf. In 1969, the double G monogram is created, some crediting Paolo Gucci for its creation. The double G would be added to the diamond shape in the print of the canvas that had previously been created by Guccio. The 1980s mark a period of conflict in the company. It all starts with Rodolfo's sense of inequality. Rodolfo had 50% of Gucci, Aldo 40%, and his sons 10%. But Aldo and Sons had Gucci perfumes. Rodolfo hires Domenico De Sole, a lawyer, to supervise the business in America. De Sole ends up unifying Gucci perfumes and Gucci, creating Gucci SPA. But Aldo's son Paolo was having difficulties within the company. He felt that his creative spirit was misunderstood and eventually starts a dispute with the family. The dispute between Paolo and his family will lead to several lawsuits and Aldo's prison in 1986 at the age of 81 for tax evasion. This decade also marks the entrance of Maurizio Gucci, the son of Rodolfo, in the company as a shareholder after his father's death in 1984. Paolo will join forces with Maurizio, that had 50% of shares, and both will be majority shareholders, removing Aldo as leader of the company. In 1989, the conglomerate Investcorp buys Aldo out of the company, accumulating a total of 47.8% of Gucci. A year later, Maurizio is made chairman. He is now the only Gucci in the company. Maurizio tries to revitalize the brand. Though Gucci was perceived as a luxury brand, everyone wanted to have a bit of it. Counterfeit Gucci items inundated the market. Gucci has also licensed the brand for items that were not particularly high-end. Maurizio reduces production, closes some stores, adds with more affordable lines, and starts presenting the fashion collections in Milan, which by the 1990s was the epicenter of ready-to-wear in Italy. All these changes did not save the company from financial distress, and by 1993 Maurizio sells his shares to Investcorp, leaving Gucci with no Guccis. Maurizio would not live longer, as in 1993 he is shot by a hitman hired by his former wife Patrizia Reggiani in one of the most shocking scandals of the world of fashion. One of the best moves that Maurizio did was to hire Dan Mallow as executive vice president and chief designer of Gucci in 1989. She had the idea of reducing the number of items in order to affirm Gucci as an exclusive brand. In 1990, Don Mallow hires Tom Ford as chief women's ready-to-wear designer. In the following 2 years, Ford's role would grow, designing shoes, menswear, creating fragrances, designing the stores, and creating new ad campaigns. Tom Ford's Fall 1995 collection was a great success, with a 1960s influence. This collection boosted the sales and put Gucci on a path that would bring its finances back on track and making the company thrive in the future. Ford's legacy at Gucci is immeasurable, creating iconic pieces that eventually would become trademarks of the brand, like the red velvet suit of Fall 1996 collection that was soon adopted by one of the most influential celebrities, Gwyneth Paltrow. Ford's jersey white dresses were also an iconic creation. These long white dresses with cutouts in different parts of the body would represent the new Gucci style created by Tom Ford. Sleek, minimal, and sexy. With Ford, Gucci adverts become extravagant and provocative. In 1995, Gucci starts by spending $28 million in advertising, only to increase its investment to $80 million in 1999. These adverts were sensual, representing young, beautiful, and sexual people, transforming Gucci into a brand of luxury and lust. These ads were incredibly appealing, but could also spark controversy and shock. In 2003, Mario Testino shot a campaign in which the model presents a G letter in a very intimate part of her body. Many tried to ban this ad. Tom Ford knew that pushing the limits was good advertisement. 10 years after his partnership with Gucci, Tom Ford leaves the company, but his legacy is immeasurable. Gucci was now owned by Kering that acquired the brand in 1999. After the departure of Ford, Frida Giannini becomes the creative director of Gucci in 2005. Gucci enters a period of stability that would eventually be too safe, and by some considered to be quite dull. Today, Gucci creative direction is in the hands of Alessandro Michele, who started in the company designing accessories. Michele brings a new Gucci for a new era, an almost genderless kind of fashion. He recreates iconic pieces like the loafers and the red suit and plays around with the Gucci logo. Gucci is today one of the most important and profitable brands in the market. There are no Guccis in Gucci. I just wonder, do they wear Gucci at all? If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. This was Fashion History Session.